Hi everybody and welcome back to today's trading video. I'm Chris and I'm a technical analyst and trader, and I've been trading and analyzing stocks and cryptocurrencies for around 10 years, and I'm going to analyze with you the most recent and most important cryptocurrency charts, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Cardano and Ripple. And we are directly jumping into the Bitcoin chart, and I'm sure you guys remember we've had this exciting week where Bitcoin peaked to around 18,300 US dollars, and then we had this sharp drop. So the rise was on positive inflation data. Inflation was better than expected. And after that, we saw a sharp decrease. This was due to the Fed speech with the interest rate hike outlook for next year. And also we've had these Binance fears. So people were afraid that maybe also Binance would go bankrupt and would not be able to be solvent and pay back customer funds. So after this, you can see Bitcoin price has stabilized and the fears of new lows or retests of the previous lows were not true. And Bitcoin has now been trading for a couple of days in this very, very narrow range, in this 16,800 US dollar range. When you look at cryptocurrency charts these days, you really have to keep in mind what time of the year it is. Exactly, it's Christmas, so actually nobody is really trading at the moment, and this expresses the trading behavior of people at the moment, so you wouldn't expect much movements these days. And this counts actually for all the cryptocurrencies. Stock markets are closed as well, and also the trading at the stock markets is really not representative for the rest of the year. And so we don't expect big movements at the moment. Nonetheless, we can, of course, use these days to trade, and therefore it's important to have a look at the most important resistance and support levels. And before we do that, I'm going to show you something. So we've been looking at the Bollinger Bands before, and you can see Bollinger Bands are also very narrow at the moment, and you can see that the price range here on the 4-hour chart is directly around the middle Bollinger Band. And this also tells us that at the moment there's not much trading action going on. But for now, we want to take a closer look at this trading range here. So what does it mean? At the moment, we are trading at this level here, and we can draw a straight line. And this is actually a very important support and resistance line. So you can see here we've had previous peaks here, also support levels here and resistance here. And at the moment, it works as a support line here, and this is at approximately 16,800 US dollars. So if trading behavior comes in and if more volume comes in, and I'm going to show you this as well, if we look at volume, it's very, very low at the moment, and volume is even decreasing right now. So we really have to wait until after the holidays and also maybe into the new year before we see some serious action. But as I said, we can expect some trading behavior as well. So there will be some low volume trading behavior before that. And the most critical levels here to watch are these previous lows. So this one here will act as a future support, and you can see that this is also support level that has been almost touched here in this area. So this is this low from the 22nd of December, and this will definitely be a support level in the future. So if prices decline from here, this could be a level where orders could be placed. The second one is this one. So you see this little drop here. This is a fake down, and this is in fact also an important support level. And you can see, I'm going to zoom out here, that this is in fact also this area here where we had this little drop, and this would also be a future support level, and this is at 16,200. And in my last video, I've also shown you the next support level, and the next support level would be at 16,000, and 16,000 would be at this level here. So these are the support levels to look for. And the question at the moment is, are we going up or are we going down? And for this, we're going to take a look at these little peaks here. And for now, you can see, and we're going to ignore the peaks here at the moment because we're just looking at the candle closes, that the tops here are declining, and we can also draw another line here, and this in fact is a descending triangle. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a drop here below this line, and maybe support could be here in this area at 16,500 US dollars. But this would be really short term, because we want to zoom out once more, and then we see, because if we look at the lows here on the 22nd of November, since then we have been seeing the higher lows. I've been pointing out those in the last videos as well. So let's take this low, this low, this low, and this low here. And because short term, of course, it may go down again, but if we see this as a macro low or a macro bottom, local bottom here, then we could say we are in an uptrend, because we see higher lows here, and we could draw a line here. So this would be an approximate support line that could be respected as well. And midterm, so this means the next days or weeks, I expect this to be the line to be respected, and that this uptrend would be continued then. We now also take a look at the RSI, you remember it, and this is actually what I've told you. It's at this middle band here, and the middle band is at 50, RSI at 50 on the 4-hour chart, and this means we are neither overbought or oversold. So at the moment, this is really low trading volume and trading action that's taking place here, and this is represented by this RSI as well. So in theory, the price could go both directions, because it's neither overbought nor oversold at the moment. But as I said, it's at the moment short term, it's more likely that we go down, and then we could see higher lows again. And in the midterm, let's say the next weeks, I expect this to go up. We now look at the daily time frame, and here you can see something really similar. So RSI also at almost 50 in the middle region, and at the moment we see these very narrow candles with wicks to both sides, but the candles are very narrow, so there's not much trading action at the moment. If we jump to a higher time frame, let's say 5 days, you can see what I just said is true, because here these two candles, they can be regarded as a local bottom here after this peak and after this downtrend, and we will see how this turns out. On the 5-day chart, we see that the RSI is more in the oversold area. So long term or mid term, there is good upside at the moment. This is what I meant by we're forming higher lows. At the moment, we are seeing a consolidation on this level, but then midterm, I expect Bitcoin price to go up. So we now jump back to a different chart, and I've shown you this before. So we are back on the 4-hour chart, and you've seen these moving averages here before. So the MA5 is white, MA10 is red, and the moving average 20 is violet. And you can see that all these moving averages are at the moment almost the same. Finally, let's take a look at the weekly chart. And we have talked about this weekly candle here, which is the shooting star. And also here we see this reversal doji. These are usually candles that indicate a short-term downtrend. So if you just look at this chart here, you wouldn't be surprised if we go and retest these lows here at 15,500. But this candle now has shown stabilization. So I told you before, I rather expect a retest of these levels and then a new move up. And if we take a look at the 4-hour chart again, there's another thing I want to point out. So this here has been such a strong support because it actually is the golden Fibonacci, the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement. And these two candle open and closes have been the 50% Fibonacci retracement. And at the moment, the resistance level here is the 23.6 Fibonacci retracement of this uptrend here. And of course, Bitcoin doesn't necessarily have to retrace to these levels here, but can also retrace to the 50% Fibonacci retracement or the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement. So this will be very interesting to watch over the next week. The next coin we want to analyze is Ethereum, and Ethereum, we've talked about this last time, is also in this uptrend. And let's draw this trend line here and take a look at the most recent price movements. So you can see that we've had a retest of this trend line here, and Ethereum is also very similar as Bitcoin at the moment, because we see a sideways consolidation with a fake out here at the moment. But if you look at it more closely, you will find that this is in fact an ascending triangle formation, and ascending triangles, I've talked about this the last times as well, are bullish reversal patterns, and you can see it here. This is something that we will find in ascending triangles very often. You see retests of this trend line here, and that's something that we've been just seeing. And afterwards, there would be most likely a retest of this level here, of this line, which is at $1,220 US, and after that, it could be possible that we break this level and go to the upside. So per se, it looks very good. The Ethereum chart, this is on the 4-hour chart, and we jump to the daily chart, and we will find that there's something very similar. So you can still see this ascending triangle formation. The RSI is similar to Bitcoin. It's in the middle range, so neither oversold nor overbought, and it will be very interesting to watch. Interestingly, the upper resistance line of this ascending triangle formation is also something that we see here that has served as resistance or support previously, and we will be watching this line, and once it's overjumped, it could be that we see a support here in this region and at this 1,220 US dollar area. Of course, it's also possible that we see short-term downtrends again, and we will jump back to the 4-hour chart, or let's say the 2-hour chart, where we can see it a little bit better, and we will also draw the Fibonacci retracement, and you will see something similar to Bitcoin, because now there is this 23.6 Fibonacci retracement that has been broken, and afterwards we see this 50 and 38.2 Fibonacci retracements that will serve as resistance and support levels, and there could be some trading action that's going on between these levels. In order for this uptrend to stay intact, we need, of course, to be above or not break this 61.8 Fibonacci retracement. So below that, there would be a new situation and new supports, but at the moment it looks good. Another thing I want to show you on the 2-hour chart is the MFI, so the money flow index. We can see from the most recent lows here, or let's say these lows here, we see a constant uptrend. So this means the uptrend is real because money is actually flowing into the equity and into Ethereum. The next coin, and we've been talking about this in the previous videos as well, is Litecoin. And Litecoin, you saw it here. Last time I said we are very likely seeing support here, and that has been true because RSI on the daily chart dropped to the oversold zone, found then support here at this level, at a higher level, the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement that I've pointed out last time. And we see that the overall uptrend here is still intact. So we have a low here, here, and here, and this is currently a higher low, and RSI is in the oversold zone, so it's at 33. And I think that we could actually see a significant move up in the next weeks. And I think this area here, this sideways consolidation, will just go on for a couple of more days and maybe 1 or 2 weeks before we then see the uptrend, because I've said it, it's Christmas season, it's New Year's Eve, and that means that no significant moves will be expected either to the upside or to the downside. And therefore, I think this will be the range for the next few days. So now we zoom in a little bit more and take a closer look. And we jump to the 4-hour chart once more. And on the 4-hour chart, I want to point out the most important support and resistance level here. For the short term, I told you, I don't believe that we go below this line here, so below 61 US dollars in the short term, so in the next week. So this will be my bottom support level here. Also, the RSI on the 4-hour chart is still very low. It's at 31. So this means there's much more space to the upside at the moment. The next support level would be this here. And we can also back this up with the Fibonacci retracement. You know, I'm very happy to use these for trading because they give a good overview, a good impression. At the moment, this is the 23.6 Fibonacci retracement. You can see the closes here or the wicks at these candles point out that this is a support line, and if it breaks to the downside, this could be a future resistance level as well. So the next support then would be in this area at around 64.3 US dollars, and then afterwards it would be this range here. And another thing I want to show you, or what I really use for trading, is the fixed range volume profile. So this means at which prices there has been the most trading volume. And at the moment you can see that the highest bar here, the longest bar here, is at this trading range at the moment. And this is something that makes me really confident that we will see a future uptrend. And we, of course, also take a look here at the 3-day chart and another indicator, the ADX, that we also looked at for other coins. And you can see ADX is very low. It's at 18 at the moment. And for example, when it was at 15 here, in this range, we saw this uptrend. So I think this is just something sideways consolidation, and something will happen then afterwards. And this is most likely a break to the upside because the chart overall looks good and we are forming higher lows. We are seeing this RSI or MFI here in this case, which is pointing up as well. I've shown you for Ethereum. So money is really essentially flowing into this equity, and this all means that something will happen in the next weeks. And therefore, I'm bullish in terms of the mid-term situation. Short term, I expect some sideways, maybe a little to the upside, and also some retests of the previous supports here that I've just shown you. So next we take a look at Cardano, and Cardano is something I told you last time. It's very interesting because we see this major downtrend, and it looks really like a falling knife. And this falling knife, you know, in trading, it's not very recommended to try and catch it. But here we had some reasons to believe that this could actually be a local bottom, and we could see some uptrend here. And I've pointed out to you last time that the major resistance here would be this 30 cents mark, and then afterwards this 34 cents. And for a macro bullish reversal, we would have to overjump this region here, which is at 42 cents. So let's stay for one moment in this 3-day chart here, and you can see ADX is pointing up. Money flow is in the oversold area. And we had this here, for example, at this drop in May. And after that, we had a major short-term reversal. And this major short-term reversal brought us gains of 70% approximately. So this is something that I think is likely to happen, maybe not in the next week, but next weeks. So midterm outlook. Also, we stay in this 3-day chart, and here you can see this doji. This doji is also a reversal doji, which you can find at local bottoms. So I wouldn't be surprised. It in fact looks really much like it looks pretty much like the altcoin chart. So I think that we could see a short-term U or V-shaped reversal here. But let's zoom in now on the 4-hour chart. So if we take a closer look at this formation here, and this will be clearer, I think, on the 2-hour chart even. So this, I think, is something that can be considered a cup and handle. So this is the cup, this is the handle, and usually these are bullish formations. We now stay on the 2-hour chart, and we can take a look at the MFI as well again here. And you can see from this downtrend here to this uptrend here, we can draw this line, and that's a new local low that has been formed here. And on the MFI, you can see it's going down. So this is a new low, so higher low here, lower low here, and this is called a hidden bullish divergence. And you remember we've been talking about divergences before, and the hidden bullish divergence is, as it says in the name, it's hard to spot, but it's in fact something that supports that we can see a future uptrend here after this sideways consolidation. So now let's take a look at the next crucial resistance and support levels, and we again take a look at the Fibonacci retracements. We go from this low here to this high, and we can see that this candle right now has found support at the 50 Fibonacci retracement, which is at 25.5 cents. And after that, I think another really important level would be this here. You can see that has been resistance level here in this downtrend, and there that would be the 25.3 cents level, and that could be a possible downtrend that we see here. But afterwards, I think that it's realistic that we see a retest of this level here, which is at 26.4 cents. So I could imagine price going like this and then like this. And here, of course, we would need to see if the bullish momentum is strong enough to break through this line, or if we're going sideways longer and retest probably also new lows. But in general, I think the trading volume will be very low in the next days. I told you before, it's holiday season, so I wouldn't be too worried if we see a new low here or a new retest of these levels here. So this is something that is really expected, trading within this range. Overall, it looks good, and I think that's something to build on for the next weeks. So we jump to the last coin, and that is Ripple or XRP. So we stay at the 2-hour chart, and you can see here that also Ripple is forming this ascending triangle formation, and we are at the tip of this ascending triangle formation. And I think if it manages to break through this line here, and this upper line would be at 35.4 cents approximately, and then we could in fact see a new uptrend here. If this is not the case, then where would be the next support levels? Of course, something to watch is this area here, so 34.60 cents, and afterwards at this level. So these are my short-term supports, and of course the most important resistance level is this upper line here, and that's at 35.4 cents, as I said already. And then we could see after that, this line could then become a support level for Ripple. We now jump to the daily chart, and you can see here that actually this is a rounding bottom formation, and I've shown you this before. Rounding bottoms usually are reversal patterns. So after this downtrend that was significant, it doesn't look so much, but it's actually been 16% down. And then after this, we can see this rounding bottom formation. Also, we could imagine to see a cup and handle here building. And these things make me bullish in the short term. And with this, I want to say goodbye today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it interesting. And as I said, don't worry too much if you see a downtrend of your favorite coin. It could be a fake out. Also, if you see a breakout, it could be fake. So that's it for now. Goodbye, take care, and see you next week.